right, Black and White Network, let's talk about Kamala Harris again. We are almost 2 days removed from that debate. And if you actually listen to the answers that Kamala Harris is actually giving during the debate, she actually wasn't answering any questions. Now, in my video yesterday, independent voters said that, hey, she really didn't say why we should actually vote for her. She was just telling us why we shouldn't vote for Trump. That's not going to work. Trump derangement is not going to work. She didn't answer any of the questions the moderators actually gave her. She tap danced around it, but the moderators were not demanding that she actually answer the questions. But when it came to President Trump, he was actually answering questions, but oh no, we must fact check him, even though Kamala Harris told like 20 plus lies. They let her get away with that. Now, this actually brings us to CNN. Jake Tapper over there at CNN has now come out and he has slammed Kamala Harris for not answering the questions. I'm going to repeat that again. He slammed Kamala Harris for not answering the questions. This is interesting, guys, because I'm not a fan of Jake Tapper, but he's right. We got it on video too, guys. Now, Wolf Blitzer also over there on CNN. It seems like, guys, there's kind of a divided CNN because Kamala Harris also wanted to make taxpayers fund sex changes for illegal aliens. Wolf Blitzer said that, oh, no, that's outlandish. Even though we got another video of CNN actually exposing Kamala Harris's far left policies, including sex changes for illegal aliens. That's what she wanted, guys. It's true. But let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. Here we go. CNN's Jake Tapper slams Kamala Harris for dodging debate questions. Yeah, because she was not answering the questions. It's just that simple. She was tap dancing around it, guys. Now, we got the clip here of Jake Tapper because you guys remember the first question was actually on the economy and Kamala Harris never answered the question. Let's go and roll it, guys.
Vice President Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy.
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
It went on from there. Despite the economy being the #1 issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question. When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay, but again, how?
She has no idea how. Kamala Harris is not a good politician. She's not a negotiator. I mean, world leaders have no respect for her. And you know what? Jake Tapper really touched on what the independent, undecided voters were actually saying, mainly with, who was it? I remember exactly who it was yesterday in my video, but they said like 6 out of the 10 people said that they were actually leaning towards Trump or will vote for Trump after the debate. Kamala Harris did not gain support whatsoever. Now, Fox News really is a never Trump network. Okay. They're legacy media. They're supposed to be on right wing, but now they're saying that Kamala Harris now is gaining steam. I expected that, guys. I expected the media to actually do that, even though we know that she's really not gaining any steam. She's just not. Now, over here, guys, look at this here. CNN's Blitzer, Wolf Blitzer. It's outlandish to say Harris supports things CNN reported she supported before and didn't disavow. Talking about Kamala Harris actually advocating for taxpayers to actually fund transgender sex changes for illegal aliens. He calls that outlandish. Now, let's go ahead and play this clip right here, guys, because he actually has a montage of clips here of President Trump from the debate, and he actually calls it outlandish. Like, for example, when Trump said that the illegals were actually eating pets in Ohio, even though we know that's actually true because citizens in Ohio are actually reporting on it. Now, some state officials saying, "Oh no, we can't confirm that." But you got citizens right there reporting that the illegals are eating pets. Let's go ahead and play this.
Joining me now, Democratic Senator LaFonza Butler of California, a national co-chair of the Harris-Walz campaign. Senator, thanks very much for joining us. Despite Kamala Harris's winning CNN's instant poll right after the debate, your campaign doesn't necessarily think this debate alone will change the trajectory of the race. So what will?
It's great to be back with you, Wolf. And no single thing is a replacement for, no single debate is a replacement for getting out and talking to the American people. And that is what the Harris-Walz team is committed to doing. In all of the battleground states across this country, we are going to be talking with voters no matter where they are, small towns, big cities, rural communities, asking for their vote, talking to them about the Harris-Walz vision of a new way forward, and inviting them to be a part of that, to see themselves in it and to participate in our democracy. And so it was a great night last night for Vice President Harris, but we're committed to not taking a single vote or community for granted.
I want to play for you, Senator, some of Trump's more outlandish claims, and there were many of them last night. Listen to this.
I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. She wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
Now, that's the most important thing right here because CNN even confirms that. But Wolf Blitzer says, oh, that's outlandish, right?
Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black.
Given all of that, Senator, why is this still a neck-and-neck race? What does that say to you about Kamala Harris right now in her campaign?
Yeah, it's a neck-and-neck race because Kamala Harris is fake. I mean, this facade, this media propaganda, it is fake. And people know it. They know it. Kamala Harris did not move the needle from that debate.
Look, I think that, the American people know this, that we function in an electoral college system, and the ways in which that our presidential election is determined is simply not by majority vote. And what it means is that there are fewer and fewer people in our country and fewer states that are going to be truly swing voters that will determine the outcome of this race. And what strategically it means for the Harris-Walz campaign, again, Wolf, is that we've got to go out and do the work. The vice president herself has been very clear that this is a campaign that is running from behind, running as an underdog. And yes, there were some moments in last night's debate that really were head scratchers if you were listening or trying to listen to anything that former President Trump was saying, but that the American people out here that are really up for grabs, what I call Kamala curious voters, they really want to understand what kind of leader Vice President Harris is prepared to be.
And they didn't get that answer. They didn't get that answer from the debate.
the vision that she and Governor Walz want to bring forward for the American people, and contrast that with what we know to be former President Trump's policy agenda, and those are being articulated in Project 2025. And so
she's repeating the Project 2025 thing, which is not Trump's platform. But the Democrats keep trying to push this on President Trump.
That's going to be our work. That's going to be our focus. And, we can't allow ourselves to get distracted or take anything for granted.
The Trump campaign senator just released a new attack ad on Kamala Harris's handling of the economy. Let's watch. Watch this.
When it comes to the economy, groceries were less expensive. Housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Yet Harris still says
Bidenomics is working.
No, it isn't.
On the other hand, inflation just slowed to the lowest rate here in the United States since February 2021. But Kamala Harris is still 20 points behind Trump on the issue of the economy.
Yeah, because inflation, those prices are still going up. I told you guys this before in previous videos. Inflation is a year-over-year thing. So if inflation goes up like 15% and then it only goes up by an additional 2%, inflation now is 2%. That's what they're going to say. Even though prices are up 17%, but your real wages have went down. This is why you actually see people responding that President Trump better on the economy by 20 points.
In our instant poll after the debate, how does she turn that around?
Look, Wolf, the reality is, and the vice president has acknowledged, working families out there are hurting. The price gouging and increased
price gouging, fake news. Fake news. That was actually brought up by Kamala Harris to implement communism right there. Price gouging, not a real problem, folks.
The cost of housing and prescription drugs truly are hurting the American. All
right, price of housing. Kamala Harris wants to give people, what, $25,000 to buy a house. Guess what? That's just going to increase the prices of houses, man. People will be priced out the market. Not going to work.
American people and working families all across this country. The difference between a vice president and her campaign to invite more people to bring our country forward and a former president who's committed to just going backwards is that she's actually put out a proposal to do something about what she has been hearing from voters all across the country. And so it's fine if the former president wants to put out an ad, but what is his plan? He has no plan for the American people, and that point was made clear last night.
Senator LaFonza Butler of California, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, so you guys saw that right there, man. You saw that right there. But Tampon Tim, by the way, guys. Tampon Tim, Kamala Harris's pick to be her running mate. Tim Walz, Minnesota, 5 male convicts transferred to female prison. Tampon Tim, man, who is all about the alphabet mafia. This man has allowed 5 males in female prisons. Will the mainstream media actually cover this? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it, folks. But this is who Tampon Tim is. I mean, he is a super far left progressive, just like Kamala Harris, man. They both communists, man. But anyway, back over here. CNN. I don't know if I actually played this clip for you guys before, but CNN actually unearths Kamala Harris's far left policies right here. Remember, Wolf Blitzer said, it's outlandish what Trump said. But listen to this.
For the first time on her campaign website, a K-file investigation has uncovered, meantime, a 2019 questionnaire. And in this questionnaire, Harris laid out some much more liberal stances, among them on immigration. So in 2019, in what K-File found, she said she would cut funding to ICE, writing, quote, "Our immigrant detention system is out of control, and I believe we must end the unfair incarceration of thousands of individuals, families, and children. I was one of the first senators after President Trump was elected to advocate for a decrease in funding to ICE.
This is 2019, folks. This is not the year 2000. This is Kamala Harris just 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Well, now, of course, she's touting the Biden administration's executive order to crack down on the border. K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. Andrew, that's pretty incredible on its own when you're talking about what you found here on ICE. What else did you find?
Yeah, and this was a questionnaire that she filled out for the ACLU, and this questionnaire is really an interesting snapshot in time of that 2019 Democratic primary. Kamala Harris was trying to get to the left of Bernie Sanders. She was trying to get to the left of Elizabeth Warren, and
that says something right there, guys, because Bernie Sanders is a communist, and she's to the left of Bernie Sanders.
Really see that in a lot of these answers, and I want to walk our viewers through a little bit of what she said. Let's just take immigration and look at what she said here. She said on immigration, she made this open-ended pledge to end immigrant detention. She said she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She also said...
Yeah, right there, guys. And Wolf Blitzer says that's outlandish, even though CNN actually uncovered this. Yeah.
Taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She actually said she supported that.
She both wrote and answered in the affirmative when she was asked this. Oh. And she said she also supported it for federal prisoners. Now, she also pledged to slash immigration detention by 50%, close all family and private facilities, and decrease funding for ICE, and then the end ICE detainers with local law enforcement.
I mean, these are things that, you know, it would be hard to think that you would come up with taxpayer funding gender transitions for detained migrants.
Stunned.
And yet this, as you say, written and verbally. Mm-hmm. You know, what else, you know, did you find?
Well, let's take a look at her answer here on drugs. She got asked about, the question from the ACLU was, since drug use is better addressed as a public health issue through treatment and other programming, will you support the decriminalization at the federal level of all drug possession for personal use? And Harris answers yes. Now, what would that mean? Well, it mean the federal all drug possession. That's not just marijuana, which she alluded to in her answer to this question, but it also would mean
it's federal level of all drug possession,
fentanyl, crack,
use. Yes.
Cocaine, things like that. Yeah.
Have they responded to you on her changes on these issues?
So we did put this question to the Harris campaign about the entire ACLU questionnaire, and the Harris campaign didn't answer any questions from CNN.
Of course
they
not.
just provided a statement from an unnamed Harris campaign advisor that just said the vice president's positions have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance as part of the Biden-Harris administration. Now, they declined to CNN to elaborate on what those positions were, and then they also provided this statement, which they attributed to a spokesperson saying, as president, she will take that same pragmatic approach, focusing on common sense solutions for the sake of progress. So where does she stand on this, all this questionnaire today? We don't know, and they won't say.
It's pretty incredible stuff, and thank you very much, Andrew K-File, for this reporting.
Yeah, that's CNN right there. That's CNN. This is CNN. And this is CNN right here. Yeah. But Wolf Blitzer, man, oh no. It was outlandish for Trump to actually say that Kamala Harris supports tax-funded sex changes for illegals. Yeah, even though CNN already exposed that. Jake Tapper here is wondering why Kamala Harris is not actually answering any questions. That's the reason why, man. Because if she truly answered the questions, she would be exposed. Her full-blown communism would be exposed. Her radicalism would be exposed. This woman's fake, man. She's fake. And that's why after the debate, that panel of 10 people said, you know what? We're actually leaning towards Trump. That's the reason why. She didn't answer any questions. The moderators didn't actually push her to answer any questions. I mean, she was just running on pure Trump derangement, and that's not going to work. It is absolutely not going to work. This woman is completely fake. And the media, for the most part, man, they have really been trying very, very hard, man, to protect her. But someone as radical as Kamala Harris, They just can't hide her that long, man. They can't do it. I mean, she is no Barack Obama. She's not even Joe Biden, man. She's not. And they ran Joe Biden as a moderate in 2020 because really throughout Joe Biden's career, he wasn't a super far left progressive. But in the case of Kamala Harris, yeah, she was a left-wing extremist, man. A pure communist, man. Her father is a communist. Her whole family, man, is Marxist. So Trump was right when he actually said she's a Marxist. Her father is a Marxist professor. He was right about that. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.